Hey guys, I'm going to channel another live reading today, and it's going to be answering the question, how do they feel? How are they feeling? And do they feel the same? So it's just going to be a little bit of fun, and we'll just see what comes through. So this is group number 1. And this is group number 2. Okay. I'm going to be using this Goddess Tarot deck and this Goddess Oracle deck and this Angel Oracle deck. So we're going to see what comes through, what messages Spirit has for us today, and we're going to get started with group number 1. What are they feeling? And do they feel the same? Because I feel like this is probably on a lot of people's minds. Okay, so tuning into everyone who's going to be watching group number 1. Tuning into everyone who's watching group number 1. What is their person feeling? What is their person feeling? Okay, we've got a couple come out now. Alright, interesting. Okay. We have the Ace of Cups. So this is telling me they want a new beginning with you. And in fact, as soon as I picked this card up, I heard in my head, new beginnings. So this is what they're wanting. Whether they're actually at that point where they can welcome you guys, like if you guys are at a point in both of your connections where you can welcome that or not, I don't know. It's going to be different for different people, but I do know that your person, they've been doing some work behind the scenes. I'm feeling like they're getting up this like courage or this momentum to kind of say something to you or show you something or be vulnerable with you in some way. And I think their intention is that it's going to re-spark this relationship or this connection that you have, or just spark it for the first time if this is just sort of like a crush situation or something like that. I'm really picking up on their energy right now with this Ace of Cups, and I've got actually the stack of cards that all came out with me, and there's a lot of pain there as well. So we got the King of Swords, we got the 10 of Swords, we got the King of Wands, and we got the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so there's 2 aces, and there are also 2 kings, and we have this 10. So how they're feeling is, they're feeling, whether or not they're showing this to you, they're feeling a lot of anguish over your connection together. They're feeling like they're questioning themselves. They're having some confidence issues. I'm seeing this as in the past. It might be in the past of your relationship together, even in a distant past, like even a year ago or something like that. I'm hearing a year ago. I'm feeling like for some of you a year ago there was a split or some kind of separation happened or some kind of shift happened in your connection with that person. But they're actually still holding on to some fragments of that pain still, and they haven't fully like integrated that experience for themselves. They're still kind of like feeling it and feeling a little bit like fearful almost of what it would mean to start again with you. That's where they're at. But they're also like knowing that this is in the past, and that, you know, to open yourself to love, like I think recently they've come to this realization that to open yourself to love is also to open yourself to pain to some extent. And I think they're realizing that you're worth it, and that it's just worth it, you know, that like you can't escape life without suffering unless you live like really just shallowly, you know, you never kind of like dig deep and like go deep with someone. And then I think they're realizing like, this is who I want to go deeper with. and I don't think they've had a lot of experiences in their life where they have felt truly, truly able to show their heart to someone, or even to, they're really closed off actually in their heart space. They put on a front that's very warm and friendly and loving, but actually and truly in their heart space, they feel a lot of fear around truly letting somebody in. So that's where they're at, and know that even, like, we're all experts at putting forward this perception of ourselves that we would prefer people to see, right? So I think, like, they're really good at that. And maybe you're the first one that really saw through that, and that really freaked them out. Maybe you had this kind of like runner-chaser dynamic going for a while and feeling. Because the other thing I'm picking up on, interestingly, is that these two king cards that came out together. So we have the Ten of Wands, which is associated with fire, and we have the Ten of Swords, which is associated with air. So I'm seeing that, like, you guys are actually a match made in heaven, in terms of, like, one of you is sort of like fueling the fire for the other person, and the other person is kind of like keeping the other person warm with that fire. Like, there's a back and forth going on, which is truly, like, very compatible and very, like, complementary to each other. However, you both want to be the king. You both want to be the leader. You both want to have the final say, or think that you're the one that's in charge. And I think I'm picking up that you maybe have in the past been more the one to, like, kind of pretend to be, like, second rung, kind of pretend to be like, oh yeah, I'll be the more submissive one, but, like, actually deep down you're like, no, I'm a king. And you want that, like, you want to be able to sit in your throne as the king, not as, like, the queen or the secondary or whatever. And so I think there's, like, a little bit of an ego battle happening between you guys, or there has been for a long time. And I think that's the source of a lot of your confusion, is because they really want to come forwards with this new offering and stuff, but they want to know that when they do that, they can sit on their throne as the king, and you're still on your own throne, kind of thing. Like, I'm seeing, like, they've kind of met their match with you, and they don't quite know what to do about that. And as much as they want you and they love you, they've got some ego stuff going on there where like, they chose you for a reason. There's no accidents with these things. Like, they chose you to learn about how to enter into an equal partnership where, you guys can create a relationship together where there is no need for this to be a problem. Like, maybe it will be a little bit more of a unique relationship than the usual, king and queen kind of dynamic. But I'm seeing how powerful you guys are together, and even if you're not together right now, which is definitely the case for some of you, I'm just seeing that, like, you really fuel each other's inspiration, you really fuel each other's ability to kind of talk about things that have happened in your life. And I think when you get with this, when you're around this person, you both just chat, like, you really talk about stuff, and I think you find the conversation really, like, dynamic and enjoyable. But again, there's some amount of people not fully showing themselves, like wanting to keep a little bit of a mask on for their own protection, but also because they feel more comfortable feeling like they're the top dog or they're the alpha or something like that. And even though I think maybe you're actually maybe a better leader, and so you don't really want to surrender that position of your own throne. Like, I'm using a lot of metaphors here, so stay with me. But you don't want to, like, you don't want to surrender your throne, because you realize that actually your vision and your direction is more sound. It's more going to carry you to the place in the relationship that you would like to reach. Whereas if they kind of sat on the throne in a domineering way, I think that you understand that would maybe cause some issues and almost like backtracking, I'm hearing. So I think it's important for you to stand firm in who you are and in your leadership capacity, but I think maybe it's a case of like just needing a fresh perspective, needing to understand you can both be kings in this connection, because you can. You really can. It's just about like surrendering our old conditioning of what a relationship should be or should look like, and realizing that we all have individual needs that need to be satiated and satisfied in different ways. And, you know, who we are around one person is different to who we are with another person. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of flexibility that needs to come in. And again, I'm hearing that you have been the more flexible one, you've been the more accommodating one, and you're realizing if this is going to work, if this is really going to work, like I need to not do that because I'm wise. Like I'm a wise being and I know kind of what's up. What else am I feeling about them? Yeah, okay. The other thing that I'm picking up on, so with this Ten of Swords, it's interesting because it's come up a lot in readings that I do, especially if they're around relationship or love readings, so I just find that interesting. But every time I read it, it's different. So today, I'm feeling it, and it's sort of more like, this is like lingering fear. So things have happened in their past, things have happened in your past together, and what's sort of like why this Ten of Swords is keeping on showing up is that they haven't fully healed that experience for themselves. Now, I don't know if this is to do with you in particular, or if it's just to do with their if it's just to do with their beliefs around love or relationships in general. But there's this lingering pain, there's this lingering kind of almost like they can slip into this depression really quickly of like, oh, it's no use and I'm no good and I'm no good for you, and kind of like a low self-worth thing going on. And so what they're trying to do behind the scenes right now is they're trying to really get something together that they can like show you, hey, look, like this is what I've been working on, or this is like kind of, because they're feeling shit about themselves, to be honest. They have a little bit of low self-worth happening. So they're trying to build something up in the physical. And by the physical, I mean financially, or maybe they're like trying to attract a new home to them right now, or they're trying to get a new job position or get a promotion with something new they want to come in so that they can show you and be like, hey, look. Again, I told you there's a bit of ego stuff going on, and that's not a bad thing. My definition of ego is simply our personality for this lifetime, okay? So what happens is we get really attached to this personality. Like, my name is Bridget, by the way, in case you didn't know that, but my soul is not Bridget. So if I get really attached to being Bridget this lifetime, then, you know, all kinds of ego stuff is going to come up for me, because I'm going to think like that is the entirety of who I am. So if that image or that persona is threatened, then my whole soul or sense of self is threatened. But it's like, if we can zoom out, and this is not an easy thing to do, but if we can zoom out and think like, okay, so I'm Bridget for a little while, I'm Bridget for this lifetime, but I haven't been Bridget in other lifetimes, and I won't be Bridget in future lifetimes. I'm something different, I'm something more than that, I'm something more than just this personality. And when we identify with our soul self, you know, that's when miracles happen, seriously. So I'm seeing they're really heavily identified with their personality of this lifetime, which is totally fine. And, you know, it's important for us to have, you know, a strong ego in a way, because it keeps us safe, it keeps us protected. It's sort of like the thing that will stand up for us and all that kind of stuff. But it's just, again, when we get really, really heavily identified with that being the only truth of who we are, that's when the pain comes in. That's when we have to start doing things like this and trying to, instead of just come to you and be vulnerable and be like, hey, I freaking love you, can we start again? They're like, I'm going to go over here and fix my finances and try and get this really good job or this promotion in my job so that I can come back to you and be like, hey, pretty lady or pretty boy, look at all this stuff I've got going on for me. Don't you want some of this? So, I think you would probably prefer if they just were a bit more honest and a bit more upfront, but that's okay. They're doing it from their heart space still, even though it's a little bit like maybe the long way round. They're still coming back to you, and they're still like, they're still working on themselves. It's just in this very physically motivated way, and there's nothing less than about that, you know, like, there really isn't. It's just that I think they're not being fully honest with you about why they're focusing on this stuff. They're not sort of telling you like, hey, I'm coming, like I'm just focusing on this stuff for a second so that I can come over with some more, you know, some more to offer you. But yeah, I think they're low, like they've been really hurt in the past, really wounded by other relationships, and they don't feel like just them is enough. They don't feel like just them coming forward is enough for you. They kind of feel like, unfortunately, that they need to bring something with them, you know? They have to have something to offer, otherwise you just wouldn't be interested. Because the other thing I'm hearing is that they think you have a lot of people interested in you. And you might not, or you might not know you do, but they think that that's their perception of you, is that, oh, they could have anyone they want, you know, and that's fueling this kind of like insecurity and this anxiety they're having, and this, you know, because they have been genuinely really hurt in the past in relationships, so maybe they haven't been honest with you about that, but it's definitely what has happened, and maybe just keep that in mind for the, like, as a context for their behaviour, you know. Gonna pull some more tarot now. Oh my god. This just flipped out straight away. So it's the 9 of Wands. So this, I don't know if you guys remember this card, but this is around patience and perseverance. So how they're feeling is like they really would like for you to be patient with them. You know, I know they're kind of like fucking around with this stuff right now, especially with this card. With that, trying to like get something going to come to you with, and you're kind of like, what's going on? But just be patient. This is kind of maybe a bit more symbolic than just surface level stuff. Maybe this is around them bolstering their own self-worth and learning self-love and all that stuff. So just know that they're working their way towards you, and they really would like for you to be patient with them if you can be, as patient as you're willing to be. Because this card is also, you know, it's about having to persevere when conditions aren't easy. And check her out, she's in the middle of like a blizzard and she's just like chilling. So maybe things have gotten a bit cold in your relationship, frozen over a little bit, and you've forgotten the warmth that you create with this person. So yeah, just maybe be as patient as you can humanly be, okay? Because there's a lot more going on than this person would like for you to see. And I know, I'm feeling like you actually are quite intuitive, so I think you've been kind of picking up on this stuff anyway, but I think that they're also quite an expert in wearing a mask in a way, if that makes sense. Like they're quite good at kind of, putting forward this certain picture of themselves that they prefer. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more. Okay, so we got the Moon and we got the Two of Cups. So, the Two of Cups. Oh my god. This is telling me, sorry, I can't get comfortable. This is telling me that you guys are both just as into each other as each other. Like, this card is about mutual attraction and mutual feelings and mutual desire. So they desire you just as much as you desire them. They're interested just as interested as you are. And it's really interesting because we have this Ace of Cups. I'm kind of seeing like a progression. So I think that things are actually going to move quite quickly for you as soon as there is this shift with this person. And, you know, maybe after watching this video, you'll feel like you want to be the one to reach out because you're like, hey, like I'm being as patient as I can, but this is taking a while. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different ways, but I'm seeing that as soon as one thing shifts, one new beginning is started, that it's going to be quite a happy one. You guys are going to be really mutually happy in your relationship together. And I'm even hearing like, why did it have to take this long? Like, I think you guys are going to be like, what? Why did we wait this long? Like, this is so good. We also have the moon. So the moon is interesting because I was just saying that maybe you guys have been feeling quite intuitive or like picking up on some kind of hidden energies that they weren't voicing or they weren't acknowledging were there. So I'm feeling like there's been some element of illusions being shattered in your relationship. And I think in your life in general, whoever's watching this, I think in your life in general that there's been some amount of like turning the light onto areas that have been dark for a very long time, and you're seeing things clearly for the first time in a little while, and you realize you've been living under a little bit of an illusion around certain people and certain just situations that I'm seeing that you're maybe a bit done with some things, but I'm also picking up this message that you're clearing space for this deeper love to come in. Clearing space for a deeper love to come in. I just keep hearing that in my head. So know that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes or like under the surface of what we can see or what we can physically take in at any one time. And the moon is all about like dreams and like subconscious and illusions and things that we get, you know, we get wrong in a way. Like we think someone's a certain way and they're not. You know, I think there's been a lot of like spells being broken for you recently. So yeah, pay attention to your dreams. Maybe you've been having dreams about this person and like you're picking up that there's something going on there for them and they're not really sharing with you, and you're right. Just like trust your intuition. This card is telling me to tell you to trust your intuition and to know that when you pick up that there's something more going on, there's something more going on. Like don't trust this person's mask, because that's what, you know, like we all wear one, you know, we all do to some extent. Okay, alright, so I think I'm going to do some goddess cards now. So, how is group number one's person feeling? What would be good for group number one to know about their person's spirit? Oh my god, expect a miracle. What the heck? This is so cool. Okay, it says, have faith that your prayers have been heard and are being answered. Expect a miracle, you guys. Seriously. Alright, let's do some more. Alright, so how are they feeling in the connection? How is group one's person feeling in the connection? Boundaries. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. So it's interesting because I feel like this card is around you clearing space for this person to come into your life or to come back into your life in a new way, or for you to reach a new level of relationship in your connection with this person. Because I think like with this moon card, that what I was picking up on was around there has been some amount of you waking up to certain things that haven't been good. And that's actually you putting up more boundaries towards people that aren't serving you. And that's actually clearing space for this like Two of Cups energy to come in, for this relationship, this new beginning in your relationship to happen. So yeah, sometimes we just need that validation from spirit that like everything that's happening is for a reason, and it's actually just perfect as it is. You know, we don't have to try and push or control things too much, because your prayers have been heard and answered, and there's a miracle coming your way, okay? Thank you, group one. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I hope it resonated with you on some level, and I'll be seeing you real soon, okay? Bye. Okay, group two. this is the pick a card reading for you. So we're going to answer, how is your person feeling? How are they feeling? And do they feel the same? Do they feel the same as how you feel about them? So we're going to start with this Goddess Tarot. And we'll see what comes out of the deck for you. Okay, so tuning into everyone who's going to be watching this video for group number 2. And how is their person feeling? How are they feeling? How do they feel right now? Okay, this one popped out. So we've got the Hanged Man. Interesting. Energy of this card is very like, they're in a time of just like really reconsidering things in their life, and yeah, really just like taking a pause in life to be like, oh, I've been going like 100 miles an hour ahead towards a certain destination, and I think they're just like reevaluating if that's actually where they want to end up. Like all this work they're putting into this one thing, and then just at the moment they're having this crisis of consciousness, and they're like, is this actually what I want? And I think they're kind of not sure about that right now. And I don't know if this is to do with you. I think it's actually something else to do with their life. I'm hearing work and I'm hearing money. The Death card also came out. So the Death card is absolutely nothing to fear. It's associated with Scorpio, by the way. This is associated with Neptune, and so therefore Pisces. So if that, maybe you're dealing with the water sign, maybe a Cancer as well. So this Death card is around new beginnings, honestly. It's about something dying so something else can come forward. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's nothing to fear. And if you're a Scorpio, then you understand this. You live by this sort of like cycles in your own life. Like, honestly, I love Scorpios, and I love the way that they die all the time and then they are reborn. Like, that's just their process. That's how they grow. That's how they like live their life, is through death and rebirth. And it's quite extreme, but it's like they are just the most incredible people who, you know, just reach this incredible depth of life. Like, oh, I just love them. So I'm seeing like your person is undergoing a death of some kind right now, but they're actually doing that so that they can be reborn. Like, sometimes we don't trust that, right? We get all this fear when something ends because it brings up grief and loss and stuff for us. But, you know, I think that it's definitely a divine death. It's a divine ending because we have this Hanged Man. This is associated with Neptune, which is associated with spirituality, you know. So I'm seeing that it's very fated. It's very destined. And I think what's going on in the connection with you both is that your person is experiencing this death right now, and you're really, it's really hard for you to understand what's going on for them because you're kind of like sitting on the sidelines and like just seeing them in absolute stagnation or depression or some kind of real pain in some way. And it's really hard for you to trust that at the end of this there's going to be a rebirth. There's going to be this coming out, and they're going to find their joy again. They are going to find their joy again. Okay? It's so hard to trust this process because, like, trust me, I know Scorpios, and it's scary sometimes when they're going through their death because you're letting everything die. Like, you're letting this relationship die. You're letting this house die. You're letting this job die, whatever. But it's like, no, trust that they're guided by something different to, you know, what other signs are guided by. Like, they really know this process of just letting things die and like almost, surrendering to the death. That's exactly what's going on for them. They're surrendering to the death, but that doesn't mean that there's not this rebirth that's really just waiting to come through. And remember, the new is always greater than the old. So they're letting go of something that really needed to go, actually, I'm hearing. But yeah, that doesn't mean that it won't be bringing up a lot of intense feelings for that person and for you probably. Okay, so group number 2, how is your person feeling? What else is going on for your person? How are they feeling in this connection. Oh my god. We have the Tower card. Interesting. So, again, I think, and we also have the High Priestess, which is associated with the moon, by the way. So, I'm very much feeling a water sign you're dealing with, or there's at least something watery about their chart. Like, this can be sun, moon, or rising, by the way, or even Venus. Like, we are so much more than our sun signs. So when I say a sign, I don't just mean your sun sign or your person's sun sign, okay? So this is really interesting. These two came out together. So yes, this death is really, really causing a lot of things to crumble, a lot of things to kind of just break down and die. I mean, look at the imagery, like things are just burning up, like they have to go. But fire is cleansing in that. You know, it's absolute destruction, but it just absolutely allows this new growth to come through. Like, you burn everything to the ground, and then all of this new green comes up from the blackness, you know? That's what's going on for your person. Maybe they're not very good at explaining this to you. A lot of Scorpios have a lot of issues with, like, expressing their real deep emotions because they feel things so deeply. They really feel things so deeply. And even if your person isn't a Scorpio, like, or you don't know, the fact that this death card came out means that they're experiencing that scorpionic depth of feeling. They're really experiencing feelings very intensely right now. And they're going through a lot. They're going through a heck of a lot. But they're going to come out like so powerful. They're really going to come out like absolutely reborn and rebuilt and regenerated. Like, they're like kind of like rebuilding themselves from like the inside out. It's like what I'm feeling. And I think honestly, you're just going to be there to reap the rewards like when it's done. I think just try and support them as best you can. Like, that's what they really would like from you, because I think they're really struggling. I mean, I know they're struggling to explain this to you. I know they're struggling to be able to really articulate to you how much pain they're in even. I don't think they've even told you that. I think you're seeing things in their life kind of crashing down and you're thinking like, this is not good. But they're kind of trying to pull the wool over your eyes and like just go on with their death and rebirth alone, you know. They don't know how to kind of bring anyone into that process because it's so sacred to them. And even if they're doing all of that unconsciously, that's what's going on. That's what's in their energy field right now that I'm picking up on, okay? So this High Priestess card, this is all around intuition and like the moon. So like everything associated with the moon, like dreams and like the feminine, and you know, the real feminine, that's that nighttime feminine that's hidden, that's you know, to do with like things in the past that have been seen as like a witchcraft and stuff like that, you know. So I'm picking up that you're actually like this High Priestess energy. I think you're really in this, and I think your person, with everything they're going right now, they really need you to be this High Priestess for them and to maybe shine a little bit of a light on what's going on for them. Maybe they don't know how to do that for themselves. Let's get my leg out. I think they don't really know how to do that for themselves. So like, they really need you to kind of help them with their feelings. I think you're actually very emotionally intelligent and intuitive, and I'm even picking up that you could be quite psychic or have psychic gifts that you have yet to explore for yourself. Yeah, I'm reading your energy and you really have the potential to explore that. Wow. So I think you really, if it's something you felt comfortable to do, like maybe you could be like, hey, I've been picking up with you that things haven't been easy recently, or like maybe that's really obvious that things haven't been easy, but you know, that it's been hard for you to talk to me, come to me about things that have been going on. So I'd really like to, you know, like open a space for you or to hold space for your feelings, because I know that you really hold space for mine, you know, something like that. I think they would really appreciate that gentleness from you. I think it's really hard sometimes to be gentle with someone we love when we see when we think they're kind of like fucking their life up a bit, but they're not. It's just that there's something more going on. And maybe even you could try and sit with yourself and sit with your energetic gifts and really to send them that love, to send them that reassurance. If you're in separation and you don't know what's going on for this person, but you've been sensing something, yeah, it's not an easy time for them right now. I mean, we have the Tower card and we have the Death card and we have the Hanged Man card. So they're surrendering to this death, they're surrendering to an initiation, and they're going to, everything that is coming down with this Tower card is meant to come down. Everything that's burning to the ground is meant to be burning to the ground. It's just that it's not an easy thing when it actually happens. And it's a hard process to actually trust when you're in the middle of it. It really is, but it's necessary. And I think largely what is being burnt to the ground with this Tower card are things that weren't serving this person, are foundations that they built that were based on something not true, that were based on maybe even just an old perception of themselves or an old story they were telling themselves about who they are that's just not who they are. It's just not. And so it had to die because they really want to show you who they truly are. And I know you already see them as that, but they would really like to embody that more. And I think they're letting go of a lot of false selves right now. A lot of the false self is, when I refer to a false self, I just mean a mask we put on, our people pleaser or our perfectionist or, our victim or something like that. Maybe sometimes it's used for manipulation, but ultimately it's just used to feel like we're protecting ourselves. So I think they're feeling really vulnerable right now. They feel like they don't have any of their guards up that they used to have, any of their armor. It's all come down and they're just exposed. And that's not an easy place for them to be. They're not used to being that vulnerable with you. So maybe you've been noticing they've been extra defensive in other ways, or extra moody or grumpy or resistant to talking to you or something like that. But it's because they're in so much pain. They really are. Even though they're having some level of acceptance around this process, they're not finding it easy by any means. They're really not. But I just keep hearing you guys are going to find your joy again. And it's probably sooner than you think, With this death process, it's hard to know how long it's going to take, just like with a birth, the birth of an actual human. We don't know how long that'll take, but you just trust that it will, in its own time, happen. So what else is group number 2's person feeling right now? Okay, so we got the 5 of Cups. I'm just going to shuffle. I think there's another one to come out. Yes. And we got the 3 of Wands. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. So they really want you to forgive them. They've been feeling like they know that things have been hard recently. They know there's been conflict and that they haven't been acting, maybe in the way that they feel even that proud of at times, but they've been acting sometimes out of pain. They really want to heal with you. They think that you're really special and they see this high priestess in you and they see this ability to, I think you're actually quite good at feeling your feelings, which sounds simple, but it's not. It's way more complicated than that, which I'm sure you know. But, it's even a gift sometimes to be able to feel your feelings and to show that vulnerability to another person who hasn't had that before, So yeah, I'm seeing that there's some amount of healing that has to happen in your connection together, and I think, unfortunately, you might have to be the one to initiate that, but that's what they want. They're feeling like, oh, I really, really hope this person will forgive me, and I know I have been, not acting not treating them the way they deserve recently. And this, again, this card, I'll always bring up the inner child with it, because I think so much healing happens with that inner child. And for you, the viewer, I just got a message for you. If you are interested in exploring your psychic abilities, and keep in mind, sometimes we are not interested in that, and it's not, we don't feel safe yet to do that, so that's totally fine. But if you are feeling a measure of safety in your gifts, and maybe you want to explore them more, as soon as you invite the inner child's perspective in, your psychic abilities will just transform, blossom, grow exponentially, because it's that inner child's wisdom that can see the world through that inner child lens that invites many of our psychic gifts back to us. Because as children, most of us can see between the realms, we really can, and then we're conditioned as we grow up to kind of shut more and more of that down for ourselves. So I'm seeing that you do have certain psychic gifts that I think you could be helpful for yourself or for people you love, or even in a wider community sense. And if you're interested in developing them and feeling more confident and empowered within those gifts, then do inner child work, heal your inner child, and they will take off, trust me. So in terms of your person and how they're feeling some pain from their childhood right now. They're feeling, and they would really benefit from doing some inner child work, but that might be a hard one to kind of try and pull with them. But yeah, they're definitely feeling the heaviness of their past, even amongst all of this destruction. In their present, I think they still can't help looking back at painful things that happened to them years and years and years ago, and I think they're feeling a little bit stagnant within those memories, not sure how to move through them, and I think that's contributing to the length of this death process they're experiencing, because I'm feeling like it's been going on for quite some time, maybe longer than what you've witnessed for them in the past. If you have noticed they have a cycle like that, like I was referring to Scorpios earlier. We have the Three of Wands, and it's so interesting because I just keep picking up this thing of they really want to come home to you. They really want to feel maybe you guys have mutual friends or something. They want to feel back into that group again. They want to feel back into that swing of things with you and your old routine that you used to do together, and maybe you would get up in the morning and go get a coffee together or something. They're just really pining for those really simple things that you guys used to do. And yeah, they just keep looking back at those experiences and almost torturing themselves with that right now, because they're whoa, what if this never comes back to me? They're going through this death and they feel they're losing so much, and they're really afraid that they'll lose you as well. So maybe, you need to kind of reassure them that, if that's how you feel, that you would like them too. You'd like them back in your life as well, or if you are together, you'd like this to continue, or you'd like to communicate better, whatever it is that's going on in your connection. I think, unfortunately, you're going to need maybe to be the one that initiates that conversation, okay? Okay, so the last card that was just on the back of the deck there that I couldn't help but pick up is this Nine of Cups card. So this is about a wish come true. So I think this is actually for both of you. I really think that for both of you, there's going to be really soon this element of you coming back together into relationship and into union with each other in a really balanced way. And it's going to feel like a wish come true for you both. And you're both going to be in so much joy, in so much lightness and playfulness and happiness. I even have this image of two children playing together. I think that you're going to feel almost like children again. And that's really nice. When I brought up the inner child for you both, I think there's going to be this element of, just things getting really joyful and just light-hearted after all of this heaviness that you've been going through. It's going to get really light again. And this card is also telling you that, whatever prayers you've been putting out into the universe, just trust that they have been answered in their own way, and that, these miracles are coming to you, okay? Alright, so we're going to do some goddess cards for group number 2. Oh wow. I didn't even have to say anything. So we have, don't back down. Stand up for what you believe is right. And blossoming. You are just getting started, so have patience with yourself and the process and do not give up. I think this is really about the blossoming of your relationship that's about to happen. So have patience with that. Have patience with what your person's going through and the amount of, letting go they're really having to do. But also know that they're making space for you. Because love, we want to be able to love someone truly and truly be with that person from our presence. And when we have a lot of emotional pain from our past, it gets in our way, gets in the way of really connecting with somebody. So I'm seeing they're really making space for you, and your relationship is going to be blossoming really soon. And this, I think, is a message for you, this don't back down. I think this is a message for you, whoever you are that's watching this video. Stand up for what you believe is right. And I think this has to do with your intuition and your high priestessness and your psychic gifts, whatever you like to call it, your intuition. Stand up for yourself, because you actually are right a lot of the time, and I think maybe you don't give yourself credit for that. Thank you so much, group number 2. I hope this reading resonated with you on some level. And yeah, I'll see you really soon. I love you so much. Goodbye.